What's up, guys? Mike from All Things Fish here. Thanks for stopping in. I know it's Friday, and I don't normally pop up on Fridays. So we'll see if anybody happens to stop by. And if not, that's okay too. We'll just see what happens. I noticed that nobody was streaming in this spot right now. I know Friday nights are normally pretty busy, particularly with summer just around the corner. A lot of people are getting eager to get outside. So we'll see what happens, and we'll just kind of do a little fish chat if some folks show up. So we'll give it a few minutes here, and we'll just kind of see what happens. So as far as myself, I'm sure you guys have noticed that I've been gone, and it's been a pretty busy few weeks here, and but it's been good. So I've been gone, and I've actually been on vacation. My wife and I and my folks took the kiddo to Disney World down in Orlando, Florida. So that was a pretty good time. We spent about a week down there and enjoyed the weather. It was beautiful. We stayed busy. We played all the typical Disney stuff. We did, the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Universal Studios, Hollywood Studios, etc. And so we just kind of had a good time down there and enjoyed the vacation. But now it's back to work. I'm back home in Iowa here. It's currently a little bit dreary outside, but that's okay. I've got some time. I've got some people. Looks like we got a few folks here that happened to get the notification. So if you guys don't mind sharing that out, we'll see what kind of crew we can round up. And maybe we'll chat for a little bit tonight. We'll see. I don't know. Muppet, what's up, man? Muppet929, howdy. Fish guy Nick, what's this, a surprise stream? Yeah, a little bit. Let me see. I don't know. I don't see myself right now. So I'll see if I can fix that. But Derek, 44 Mad Guy, fishing more. Derek, where you been, man? It's been a while. I haven't seen Derek in quite some time. Can you guys, how's the audio? Are you guys getting video? Right now, I'm not showing video, and I want to see if we can fix that. If you're not getting video, let me know. Because you guys staring at, maybe I did something wrong here. StreamYard, hey, we're getting better. We're getting closer. Maybe not quite there just yet. We'll get it. I'm working on it. It's been a while. Here we go. Maybe we're making progress. So what's everybody been up to? Aquaballs, George, howdy. What's up, man? Derek, Fish Guy Nick, Aquaballs, Muppet. We got a few folks in here. Video's good now. How's the sound? So the Noxy Tanks. Hey, man. Tom from Skippers is here. What's up? How's the sound? Does it sound okay, or does it sound like crap? If it sounds like crap, let me know, because we need to fix that. Ian is lurking. Thanks for stopping by, Ian. Setting up a saltwater tank. So I'm going to ask you to take a break from lurking. Why don't you tell me about this saltwater tank that you're setting up? I'm curious, man. I'm curious. What you got going on over there? Alan Matthews, hello. See if I can get rid of this. I'm trying to fix this. It's not the same as usual. Background. Let me mess with my stuff. Dang it. Sounds good. All right, cool. Sounds good. Awesome. George is doing water changes. George, if you want to chat, I mean, you are more than welcome to stop by and chat. I haven't talked to you in a while. So, Friday night hangout. Just kind of, I saw some time to fill in the gaps. Derek, George, if you guys want to talk fish, let's talk fish, man. Let me know if you're interested, and I will, I'll share the link. Maybe we can get some new people on here. We'll see what's up. In the meantime, So, like I said, I've been gone, and that's okay. You know, this isn't my job. This is just a hobby. I might move you guys over here a little bit. Well, now you're gonna see all my wife's crap. That's okay. You guys will park it right there. Uh, Derek said, "Yeah, in the fish room. Greg the Guppy guy's working and lurking away. Lurking's okay. Got no problem with lurkers. Uh, yeah, like I said, so we all have lives outside of YouTube. I love you guys. Love hanging out with you and love chatting with you. However, I do have a family, so I've been gone a little bit. I've been around. Between work and some family vacation stuff, I've been plenty busy. Unfortunately, that means that I haven't been able to get a whole lot done on ye old fish room. But we're still making things happen slowly because lumber prices are through the roof. So the stuff that I wanted to build downstairs is kind of on standby just because lumber prices are stupid. And I'm not a cheapskate by any means. I've ponied up more than my fair share of money for some things. However, lumber prices are just insane right now, and they got to come down eventually. So I can get by with what I've got now. I am setting tanks up. There are videos that will be published this week. Now that I've been back from vacation for a few days, this week things are starting to get rolling. If you guys didn't notice, and I'll shamelessly share my own video, my most recent video. Whoops. My most recent video is in the chat there. And that's just kind of a quick look at my weekly maintenance routine on my 125 Planet display. You guys have seen that. I've kind of started sharing it in some streams. It's a bit of a mess right now. Before it was a mess because it looked like crap. Now it's a mess because, things are just growing a little bit, they're doing healthy Planet things and they're growing crazy. So it's good. Alishan AS, hey, what's up? Ian said, good to see you all. And we're glad to see you, Ian. Thanks for stopping by. Fish Guy Nick's preparing to graduate soon. Are you graduating? Now, I don't know how old you are. I know I've talked to you. Is that a high school thing or a college thing? Let me know, man. Because I played the college, high school, or the college graduation game. I graduated in 2012 myself from Black Hills State University, which is a small school located in the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Spearfish, South Dakota. So if you've ever been to Mount Rushmore, then you've been pretty close to Spearfish. And if you ever want to go to Spearfish, South Dakota, I would suggest going in the fall. Spearfish Canyon is a beautiful location. In the fall, like September, October timeframe, colors start changing, and it's just gorgeous. It's a great place to be. All right, now we got all kinds of weird stuff going on. But there's Spearfish. Like I said, the west side of South Dakota. I'm over here on the kind of the southeast side. But yeah, it's a great place. Ian's doing a fish the cycle using bottled ammonia on a saltwater tank. What's your plan for the saltwater tank? I've got a BioCube. I think I'm going to turn it into like a Manda shrimp type tank. Haven't quite decided yet, but it should be fun. Scott from Third Coast Aquatics is here. What's up, Scott? How you doing, man? Scott, let me see if I can remember this. Scott, in case you guys haven't been on my streams before, Scott from Third Coast Aquatics actually does some art stuff, and he does some pretty awesome art stuff. And you can see his artwork at his art pal. That's artpal.com/Scott R. Henderson. He's got this sweet blue bolt shrimp, this awesome sea turtle, macaw. He does a lot of black and white work, and I bet if you sweet talked him, he'd probably do some commission stuff for you. Pretty good guy. John Oliver from John Oliver's Guppies and Aquatics is in the house. Super good dude. He's got some awesome stuff. He also is a fellow fish tube type guy. And so if you can find him, he uses obviously the same username, and I'll drop that in the chat. He does sell a lot of guppies, and he sells some awesome, super salty stuff. I've got 2 tanks full of his guppies downstairs, and I hope to distribute those soon. So we'll get those out there. Ian says he wants to play. I'll post this here. And Ian, you are more than welcome to share. We'd gladly have you up. Let's see that saltwater tank if you have time. If you don't, that's okay. I get a citron goby with some little hermit crabs. I had in my 29-gallon tank, my little BioCube there, I had one of the green clown gobies, and that is a super cool critter. So those little gobies are pretty awesome. Patrick says, abandon us Tuesday, then show up out of the blue. Yeah, kind of, sort of. I was working on videos while I was listening. I was over listening to Maple Street, so him and Aquatic Ness. They were kind of feeding their fish room, which if you're into native fish, and if you're not into native fish, still check them out. Maple Street does some awesome stuff. He was streaming, and then I noticed that there wasn't really anybody streaming, so I figured, boom, I'm going to jump in, fill in the gap a little bit. I missed you guys. We got 15 people watching. It may be short. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just kind of roll with it. We're going to roll with it and see what happens. Craig Broderick, good day. John Oliver said, thanks for the shout out. Yeah, always happy to help, man. You know what? Helping each other out is free. If it takes 2 seconds to click a link and hit subscribe and hit, thumbs up, whatever, share it, much appreciated. If you guys want to share this stream, that'd be appreciated. Let's see what kind of crowd we can get in here for a Friday night. Like I said, it's rainy outside here. It's gloomy. You guys got me all night. I'm batching it. So my wife and son are actually out of town for the night. So I am playing the Bachelor game. So I got time. I got a lot of time. I do have to work Saturday and Sunday, but in the evenings I may be available. Alice Shan's college went off business. That's not a good sign. Generally try to avoid that. Ian said he'll be up in a second. I gotta figure out this mess. I don't know what I'm doing. It's been so long. We'll say hi to this guy, I guess.
What's up?
We'll let him play. What's up, man? How you doing, Tom?
Not much. Fair, I'd join you.
Yeah, what you got in there?
I'm just doing a water change at the moment.
All right. Are
That's
those
the longfin body artists.
Okay.
They're eating bloodworm great now.
Yeah. Awesome.
Trying to get them to where they're going to lay me some more eggs. So I think we got a system coming in.
Yeah. Good. Great time for water change. Lori is here. What's up? Oh, I suppose if we're going to let Tom play, we'll let this guy play. Derek, what's up, brother?
Hey, man.
Hey, how you
What's
been?
up?
I haven't seen you in a while, Derek. Where you been?
Oh, nowhere. I'm over here in Texas and taking care of helping take care of my grandfather. He's got dementia, so I'm kind of helping my grandparents out.
Well, I wish it was on better terms, but I hope everything's going well for you, man. And keeping your grandfather in our thoughts. So
thanks. He's doing real well, actually. So
and here's a face. We'll add while we wait for Ian. Here's a face I don't know if anybody's even seen before. I personally haven't, but check out this guy. Patrick,
I just thought I'd have to jump up and say, hey.
How you doing, Patrick?
I'm good.
Good. It's nice to see you. I mean, obviously, we interact through messages, and sometimes these live streams can be a little one-sided, so it's nice to get to actually see everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just finished supper, so I was chilling on the bed, and I thought, I'm just going to go aggravate him.
There you go. Like I said, I've been gone. I don't think I've streamed in 3 weeks. So Tuesday nights have been, I passed the buck off on Tom, and he jumped in for a little bit. And I don't know if anybody filled in this past week, but next week I'll be back up. And I like I said, happened to notice that nobody was really streaming right now, so I figured why not? We'll say hi to everybody.
Cool. Yeah, I am.
Great panel. It's a fun Friday night. It can be a fun Friday night. It may not be fun yet. We'll see. But it can be fun. We lost Patrick. I don't know if he smashed the wrong button or if he decided to go back to bed. But that's okay. It was still nice to see him. Always nice to see folks. And I didn't pin the link for the chat. But if anybody's interested, let me know. I'll drop the link and we can have a casual hangout. Or we can, if you guys want to get nerdy, we can get nerdy and we'll talk nerdy stuff. I'm okay with that. So anyway, like I said, before people kind of started jumping up, I recently just posted a video of me cleaning the 125. If that's something you guys want to take a quick peek at, we can walk out in the other room and take a look at it. I know I've showed it in a couple of other streams and people had some questions, and I'd be willing to answer questions, no problem. So Tom's busy doing water change. Derek, what are you up to tonight? I know you said you're in Texas. You're taking care of your grandfather, helping out at least. What else you got going
on? Nothing much. I just got a little part-time job.
Okay.
To helper to an electrician. So.
Oh, okay. That should be a decent little gig then, I would think.
Yep.
So did you, I mean, I don't know before, I mean, I don't know you super well, but did you have many tanks up before? Did you just tear them down or?
I've got one tank. My dad's keeping it up. So.
Okay. All right. So is it, I mean, what's in it now that he's just responsible for taking care of?
Well, I had a few cichlids, but for some reason they just all up and died.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And guppies are still in there, still going strong. They just had they just laid a bunch of babies. So.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Man, you shaved off that beard.
Dragon Layer said he hit the wrong button. If you want to come up, and if anybody wants to come up tonight and hang out and chat, I think I pinned the link this time, so we can chat for a little bit.
Cool.
Other than that, just kind of Nick Aquaballs. George said he's doing water changes. I haven't talked to George in a while either. I said the past, few weeks, I just haven't been around at all, which sucks. It does suck. But things are kind of slowly returning back to normal. Scott asked when I'm going to get back from my trip. So I'm actually home now. I've been home since Sunday night. So we went to Florida from Sunday to Sunday. So we were gone exactly a week. All I did, I've got some tanks downstairs with some guppies and shrimp and some plicos. All I did on those lights are on timers. I fed them up a little bit extra before I left, and they were good while I was gone. And since then,
cool.
So the 125. All I did on that was I turned the power down on the lights. I run 3 prisms by Nylock G. So Colin over at nylockg.com. It's pretty powerful. It's kind of a black box style LED light. So it is pretty budget friendly. I think right now you can still get them. Yep, you still got $20 off the prisms. You can still get them for $20. Pretty good photo edition. Awesome growth. So I run 3 of those on my tank. And I just turned the power down to about, I usually run them about, there's 2 separate channels to adjust color balance a little bit. I usually run them about 85 and 60 or so. So I just tuned those down, cut it in about half. And I'll drop the link for, if you're interested in planted tank lights, whether you want to go hardcore or not. I posted a link for those, and you guys can take a look at them. I've had mine for about a year, and for $140 a piece, I definitely say they're worth it. I really like them. John Oliver, thanks. Appreciate it, man. We'll see. If it's 15 of us, if it's 5 of us, if it's 50 of us in here, that's okay, because I miss hanging out with the folks. So it's nice to see you guys. Loria asked, does anyone know if yo-yo loaches grow slowly? My Corydorus and Zebra Danios seem to be thriving, but the loaches are not growing as well. They're active in eating and don't have sunken bellies. If they look healthy, I would say they most likely are healthy. Loaches are pretty slow growers, especially, I haven't kept clown loaches long term, but I know those critters, they're expensive when they're bigger because they take so long to grow. So yes, Loria, I would say definitely a little bit slower growers. It's just kind of the nature of the genus, I think.
I haven't seen knuckleballs in a while, so.
Yeah, it's been a while. Ian, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Ian.
How's it going?
How you doing
Hey,
tonight?
Derek. Hey, Skipper.
So, which is that the saltwater tank that
Hello,
you're
Ian.
setting up there?
Oh, that's
Yeah, this is going to be my saltwater tank.
Okay. And is
So-
that a 20 high or
Awesome.
29?
Oh, that's a 10-gallon.
Oh, it's a little 10. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just doing a little 10.
fun.
Okay.
I got some live rock and purple life rock, like dry live rock.
Okay. Yep.
And I'm pretty much just going to cycle it for a month with no fish in it.
hmm
And try and do algae. A lot of macro
Color.
algae, I think would be cool.
Awesome.
Fun Dwellers
So,
Aquatics.
Actually, speaking of smaller tanks and speaking of tanks like that, I was actually poking through earlier, and Mark from Mark's Aquatics has this pretty cool tank. It's this Welsh native marine tank. Maybe you guys have already seen it. I just saw it
Oh,
today.
yeah.
But that's
I
pretty
love
sweet.
that tank.
That's a neat little tank.
Yeah, if I could get my hands on a killer, I would be going to the coast and seeing
Yeah.
what I can catch.
I bet. Skippers is back. What are you using for light on that thing?
So this is a Nicrew marine light. I got the box over here.
Okay.
Oh,
It was
cool.
like $50 on Amazon,
That's not too bad.
and yeah, super cheap. Just
Once you have marina in front of it, everything, it sounds expensive.
yeah, but I mean, I'm not really planning on doing coral, and if I do, the most coral that I want to do is like green star polyps or
Right,
pulsing
yep.
xenia, and those don't need a whole bunch of light. But this has the cool mode where it will ramp up and ramp down, and it has a digital timer built into it,
Okay.
and it has
Mhm.
3 different modes. I
Awesome.
gotta get everything wired in and plugged in still.
Mhm.
I'm just kind of dry fitting everything now.
Yeah. No, that's okay. What are you gonna use for a substrate?
So I'm gonna use a mixture of aragonite and Carib Sea live aragonite sand.
hmm
So it's got beneficial bacteria in it, kind of like the Eco Complete that we get for freshwater.
Right.
Ah,
And then I'm using this as well. And this is dry life rock from Carib Sea. So this has beneficial bacteria living in it dormant. And then when you submerge it in water, salt water, it starts producing that bacteria slowly.
I get you drinking layer. My phone's on low battery itself, so I'm
And it's
having
all
to charge it.
handmade rock.
That is handmade rock.
Yeah, this is handmade rock. It's not
Okay.
taken from the ocean.
Awesome.
Which is
Yeah.
what I want to focus on with this tank, is I really don't want to be getting a lot of wild caught stuff and just taking from the ocean.
Right.
because we're not going to have the ocean forever.
Yep. And that's one thing that's neat to see on the saltwater side, is they're actually, breeding a lot more saltwater species now.
A lot.
Which is
Cool.
quite impressive. Because a lot of your saltwater stuff, it's going to go through a little bit more of like a larval type stage.
Yeah.
So I mean, I bred peppermint shrimp myself, and I bred some. Like your standard like percula clownfish? I think it was percula or ocellaris. One of the common ones I spawned at a while back, and it was fun to say it did, but it is a lot of work because you do have to go through like the larval stage and a lot of different live foods. Bottom Rollers is here. What's up, Bottom Rollers? Kent's Fish, howdy, Pose. Hey there. Hope you're doing well.
I had to guess how much this one piece of rock was.
That one piece weighs?
No, how much this was in like cost.
It's probably, I mean, probably 15 or 20 bucks.
This was $40.
Okay. I wouldn't think
The
that
three
much.
pieces I got all together was $90.
Really? Yeah.
Saltwater.
So for those of you folks in the chat that aren't so, not necessarily saltwater savvy, but you don't mess with saltwater, you simply just don't know. Saltwater tanks generally, may or may not have as much like a mechanical type filtration or filter media. Generally speaking, they run more or less the filter itself as your live rock. So you use a highly porous rock, and your beneficial bacteria largely colonize on the rock itself. So you can usually the two main options are either dry rock or live rock. Dry rock being, simply a dry piece of rock that doesn't necessarily have any bacteria on it. Your live rock being, rock that you actually purchase. You'll go to a store, pick it out of the tank, and with that live rock, you may get some cool hitchhikers. You may get some parasites you don't know. Sometimes there's corals on it that you don't even see. So what he did here is he basically has live rock that's been dried to a point, but still has dormant bacteria on it.
Live rock, really good stuff like urchins and little crabs.
And that's kind of the risk reward of live rock is that you may get some awesome stuff. There's often like some of your smaller corals on it, like your zoas or pallies or your green star polyps. Sometimes even some of like your chalices that may just have a chunk on there that you'll have to rock in there for a while and then it starts to grow. Other times it could come in with some nuisance. So Patrick said he's glad you didn't drop that rock for $40. Yeah, that's probably a good sign. Otherwise, it could potentially go through the bottom of the tank, I suppose.
Hey, you know what? If it breaks, I'll have two pieces.
There you go. I know. So my club, many years ago when I was doing the saltwater game, my club actually had a meeting where they did a session where they built or made dry rock and kind of molded it and formed it to different shapes. That was kind of cool to see.
Hey, Jeffrey. Hey, Monster Fish Gal.
Watts. How's it going? Monster Fish Gal. Lori, how you doing tonight? And again, all right, now we're talking more of my stuff here.
Yeah, this is my CO2 tank.
Okay.
I'm using the F-Zone CO2 generator. And it's holding good.
How do you like that F-Zone, the generator itself? I have an F-Zone regulator, and I wasn't super happy with it. It wasn't like their pro grade or whatever. But how do you like the generator itself?
I love it. I love that I can hook it up to a timer and turn it off and on, and it's not going to damage it. Mm-hmm. It comes with a bubble counter. It does not come with the solenoid, so you have to buy that separately, which I do not like. There's a lot of people that just buy the system saying it's the full kit they need, and they don't get the solenoid, and they just run it 24/7.
Right.
And that's not really good, so I got the solenoid. It is tiny. I love how tiny that is. I mean, a lot of the solenoids I see are big blocky things.
Yep.
That guy's like an inch.
Okay.
It's got a really, really precise needle valve. I love how precise it is. I mean, you barely touch it and it changes it a lot.
Yeah. Good deal. So now
And
that's a
the
CO2
bottle,
generator. So is that a citric acid type mixture that they use there?
yeah, it's a baking soda citric acid that I mix at my house. I don't have to take it to a yard and pay a little bit to get it refilled. I'll just the ingredients. I get like a 5-pound bag for less than $20,
Okay.
and I only use 200 grams per mixture
Okay.
of each. So it lasts a pretty long while when you get the 5-pound bags, and it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
So DIY CO2, even itself, like as simple of a technology as it seems, has come a long way. When I first got in, citric acid wasn't really a thing. We just did the old sugar and yeast game. So I had 3 2-liter bottles of sugar and yeast, and I'd change one out a week on my 29-gallon tank, and it was, far less output that you're going to get with a citric acid type setup. And as you can see, I mean, you're getting some really good growth there. Everything looks healthy, some good color at everything.
Yeah, I added 1 cup of Glossostigma about 3.5 weeks ago, and this is the growth I got.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Glosso. A lot of people, whenever they ask for a carpeting plant, Glosso is the first plant that comes to my mind because you don't need CO2 for it in a sense that I've been able to carpet it without CO2, assuming proper nutrients and light and stuff.
Right.
So it's definitely possible.
It is. I've done it with dwarf hair grass, and I've been told by other people, you're never going to carpet dwarf hair grass with no CO2.
Yeah.
But I blasted it with light, and I put it on good substrate, and I put ferts in every day. And God dang it, I got that thing to carpet.
Yeah. And let me see. Let me see if I can find it. There's a gentleman over in Minnesota.
I flowered a booth, but I totally missed it opening, and I failed you all. You would have had a great photo.
That's pretty cool. Booths are actually, I found that, booths are actually fairly easy to get flowers from. I've had more boost flower than Anubias, and some people get a lot of flowers off their Anubias, but
yeah, the plant right here is Ludwigia arcuata. There's Hygrophila pinnatophyta, Ludwigia ovalis, Rotala indica, pearlweed, crypt parva, in like that little channel right there with some Alternanthera.
Yep. Okay. Awesome.
There's crypt tiger spiralis. I got that tissue culture. It's still pretty small.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of different boost species. I know this one's Catherine. I know that one's Godzilla. And I think this one's Mini Coin. Not sure what this one is.
Okay.
I got a bunch of them from Boost Plant, and I got the Boost starter pack, and they sent me Boost that looks exactly the same.
Yeah. I've found that a lot of the boosts that are out there, despite giving them funky names, are actually quite similar, if not exactly the same. And I don't dabble in salt as much as I used to anymore. But I think, if you have experience or if you've kind of looked around the saltwater tank world, you'll find that a lot of people like to change names to try to make a couple extra bucks. Especially with like Zoas and Pallies, and you get into some of your sticks, and the price just goes through the roof. It's really
I've noticed that in coral.
Honestly, it's ridiculous, and it's kind of
and some of the hybrid clownfish. A lot of people like to sell hybrid clownfish and think that they're true, and sell them for way more than what they actually should be.
Yeah. So So somewhat off topic, but you were talking about the growing carpets without CO2. This tank came to mind. Let me see. I'm gonna bounce over here. So this is a non-CO2 supplemented tank that a friend of mine in Minnesota grows.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yep, you got to drag out your O's. And this is a tank with no CO2.
Wow, look at those red.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing and you're patient, nice colors and good growth and highlight are still definitely possible without CO2. I don't mean like CO2 is not necessarily a crutch. There's a lot of stuff that most people wouldn't be able to grow without it. But as you can see, this guy, he knows what's up, and he is able to grow some pretty impressive stuff without CO2.
Wow.
Oh, is that Ludwigia white?
That is Ludwigia white. I think that is a Quingular, that Irio that was just to the left of the Ludwigia. You can see he's got some crystal red type shrimp in there, some Singonanthus. That looks like Rotella.
What was that carpeting
variegated?
Plant at the bottom?
What's that?
What was that carpeting plant at the bottom? It looked curly, but like grassy.
Just that guy there?
That.
If I'm not mistaken, that is it looks like a Singonanthus species.
Oh, that's a cool plant.
The fact that it's a taller stem, the fact that it's growing that low is surprising. And I may be wrong. I'd have to ask him. Looks like this tank is about 2 years old now. He posted this video in January, so about 1.5 years when he posted it. But I'm pretty sure that's like a Singonanthus bellum type species. Again, like I said, the Rotella macrandra variegated, I think. Some Hygropanatophyta. Looks like maybe some Limnophila aromatica mini. Some Rotella tulendensis. Maybe some Rotella wallichi. So he's growing a bunch of different species in there and growing them quite well without CO2, which is pretty impressive.
And they're all purling. Yeah, that's great.
So I'm not sure what he's running for light.
Looks like a twin star, or maybe Chihiro's.
Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's either of those. But like I said, I preach CO2 myself, but as you can see, you can have a pretty slick tank without it. Takes a little extra know-how.
Yeah. Hey, quiet mess. Hey, Danica.
So Alishan said they've got one saltwater tank, a snowflake moray, and an orange toadfish. And orange toadfish would be pretty sweet. I had a snowflake eel for a little while. Super fun to watch. They're very personable. They have a pretty awesome personality. Nick said he's out of here. Thanks for stopping by, Nick. I don't know how long we'll be streaming. I know there's a lot of people going. We'll probably bounce in time for, oops, I'm all over the place. This guy right here, Kenny E. from Danikin Aquatics. We'll bounce in time to send everybody over to Danikin's stream, I think.
Cool.
Hope you're having a good night there, Kenny. Ian's showing off some of his stuff over here. We'll take another look. What kind of fish are those there, Ian?
These are all baby rainbow cichlids.
Okay. Awesome.
With some emperor tetras.
Yep.
Those are Enigma Tachromis lucanusi.
Okay. Yep. And now there's a strain of those that's like the Rolofi blue. Am I right? Or am I thinking of a different Western? I might be wrong. Let me Google it. Enigma,
I'm not 100% sure.
I might be thinking of something else. I may be wrong. I thought there was a separate. Oh, no. I'm off. I'm thinking there used to be a pelvic chromis Rolofi. They're similar, like just kind of a similar Western.
Yeah. These guys are cool though. They're max 5.
Those are pretty sweet. That's do they have a similar personality to like a crebensis or?
Yeah, they're very, very similar. but they have been classified as their own species.
Okay.
I think they are a part of the Pelvicochromis genus, but they're not a Crebensis. They don't really call them a Crebensis.
Yep. Now, let me see if I can find.
I can get them to come up. That's my thumb. They're really small. The big male is probably 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches.
Yeah, that's surprising how small they are. I actually.
Yeah, so they're not like the cribs. Cribs I've seen get like 3 inches.
So Alishan, the resident ichthyologist, said the Leucanusi used to be Pelvicochromis sp bluefin until described by Lambeau. So there's the answer. I thought they were similar. A friend of mine actually has these. Well, I bought the fish. They're at his house. But Chondrochromis dimidiatus, which is another Western type. These little guys here. It's kind of, well, I was hoping that would be a little bit bigger.
Oh, those guys are beautiful.
But Chondrochromis dimidiatus, it's similar to the Leucanusi, like the Crebensis and the Wallaciochromis types. So again, a Western. You don't see them very often in the hobby, but he said they're starting to pair up. So he's got a pair sitting there waiting for me. I said, somehow I bought the fish, he raised them, and I only get 2 of them. What kind of deal is that?
Yeah.
They're pretty sweet. Definitely one of those fish that's not seen in the hobby very often. They were bred by a guy that shipped them in from Europe. He's a professor at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. So he bred them. Pretty sweet little fish, though. So I'm excited to take a shot at those.
Nebraska.
Yeah, Oliver Lucanus. He's a cool guy. He's got great books, great knowledge, amazing photographs.
Yeah, he's
Love that guy.
Smart dude for sure. And just so I don't step on anybody's toes here, Danikin, what time does Kenny usually stream on Fridays? Trying to find it.
And the Enigmatochromis come from a very, very small river that's around 3 meters wide.
Okay.
The Photo River. They're really cool fish. I like them.
I do get some notifications for his stream, but I can't remember what time they usually come.
I think he doesn't stream until 9, but I'm not positive.
I think it's somewhere around there.
George said if I buy him fish and he breeds them, I'll get the first batch. It wouldn't be the first time I've done that. I do that for, I got a lot of local friends that are pretty good at breeding stuff. So if I find a fish I like, hey, I'm decent at breeding fish, but you're better than I am. So I'll buy the fish, you breed them, and just give me like a couple pairs after or something. And it usually works out.
Okay, so 9:30 Central Time.
7:30. All right. 7:30 to 10. All right, 9:30. So we got time. I know, who is it? Lucas from LRB usually streams on Friday nights, I think. I don't know the schedule. Some people have the schedule memorized. But like I said, I jumped up just because I saw that gap. I don't want to, try to sneak in on anybody's time. So if any of you guys know if anybody's streaming, let me know, and we can definitely we'll jump over there. Dan's bringing up some wild Sacromontis, which is awesome. That is, I've been bugging Dan about that order of Western type stuff coming in for a while. Some wild Sacromontis again, another similar to a Crebensis, super awesome fish. Would love to have some of those guys.
All right, bye-bye, Felix.
All right. So Kenny said LRB comes on at 9:30 Eastern. So I don't think we're cutting into anybody's time yet that I know of. Obviously, I don't know the whole schedule. Obviously, can't work around everybody, but we'll probably give it another 15, 30 minutes here. So just kind of jumping on, say hi to everybody, see what's up. Thanks to Derek and Ian and Tom for jumping up. Appreciate you guys. The Nigeria order, correct me if I'm wrong, Alishan, but that Nigeria order has been a myth for a year now, I think. He's been working on trying to get that one in for quite some time.
Well, my phone's dying, and I've got work to do.
All right, Ian.
I wanted to tell you that saltwater setup. If you have any other questions or want to know anything else, just try and email me or we talk about it.
Definitely. I'd love to. And, obviously I haven't talked about saltwater on my stream much. I do have some experience. Some of the knowledge that I may have or may not have is a little bit outdated. So maybe one night we'll have you over and we'll talk saltwater for a little while.
That sounds fun.
All right.
Okay, that's an idea.
Thanks, Ian. We'll see you around. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, you guys have a great night.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. I did hear Tom's voice, so I think Tom is nearby his phone.
What's up, Skipper? Yeah, I've been able to get on. I just got a better cell phone plan.
Okay.
My parents' internet I've got satellite, but it's not very good.
Okay. Well, it's nice to finally have you back. I know. I've been around the YouTube scene, Fish for quite some time. Obviously, I just kind of started putting out content and streaming and getting a little more involved in January. But I know, there. Even since then, there's been guys that used to be on a lot like yourself and kind of disappeared for a while. So we're glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I could jump up for some time. I
said,
late night stream because my grandparents actually go to bed at a decent hour.
I know how that goes. Supposedly, Dan confirmed the Nigeria order on the last stream, but we'll see. That's what it sounded like a long time ago, too.
There's a lot more people streaming nowadays than before.
Yeah. It's tough to keep up with. Post said, thanks for streaming. Gladly. And I'm going to just kill my camera for a minute, and I'm going to move it so you guys have something to look at that looks, hopefully better than my face. So give me a
Probably
second.
better than my tank.
We'll see. We'll see. It's a matter of opinion, I suppose. I'll be right back, fellas.
We'll see. West. Well, we have to go back to it. Yeah, Daniken's streaming tonight. I think, is Anthony still doing for Fridays? I am not sure.
All right. Oh, no, I broke it. Well, that's enough of that. Hold on.
Of course it is.
It's all kinds of broken now.
He broke it.
That's what I'm good at. Really good at breaking things.
Anyone ever used micro lift herb Tana? I haven't heard of it.
All right, let's see if we made progress here.
Yep.
At least have a tank-ish to look at. It's better than my mug. Brother asked if anybody ever used Microlift Herb Tana. I haven't. I received some samples that they gave out at an event once, but I haven't personally used it. So I don't have a ton of experience with it. I think Microblift tends to try to be, they offer a lot of stuff like on the pond side of stuff. But I don't know how effective their products are. Cheshire Cat said I have Microblift Artemis, which is similar. Can't say I've noticed to do anything, but sometimes put it in to help healing just in case. Don't think it hurts. Yeah, I don't think it's detrimental to the tank. I just don't know how much of a benefit it has to offer. Yep, Alex, yeah, that's how we got it. Was through like we were having an event, a swap meet type deal, and they sent a bunch of stuff. Cheshire Cat, I think I followed up. I sent Cheshire Cat some plants. I hope they're doing well for you. If not, let me know, and I can try to help you out, or we can try to see what we can do to make things work better. Bottom Driller asked, anyone ever have to treat velvet? I have not. And unfortunately, probably for me as a hobbyist myself, I should look into things, even though I haven't had to treat for them, but I don't. Should be maybe like Alishan or Patrick would have some good words as far as suggestions on how to treat that. Deborah Lewis. Hello, Deborah. Hope you're doing well. Dragon Lair said, nice sword. Bottom Brother said he's trying to treat ick, or what he thought was ick. I know a lot of people use like ick-X to treat ick or other various chemicals. There's a bunch of them on the market. A lot of them are like a methylene blue or a malachite green base. Myself, I haven't had ick in a long time, but generally if I'm treating ick, all I'll do is bump the temp up to about 86 degrees, increase surface agitation to compensate for reduced dissolved oxygen levels, and let it sit for 2 weeks. And usually you're pretty good to go.
That's what I've usually heard to do, is just try to increase the temperature and maybe use some aquarium salt.
Yeah,
it's been so long since I talked to fish.
Obviously, I keep a lot of plants in my tanks, so the heat's a lot better on the plants than either like a chemical fix or salt.
Mm-hmm. And I've never had to deal with it personally, so.
I've dealt with it a couple times in the past, but it's been a while. And I think the better we get as hobbyists and fish keepers and aquarists, the less we have to deal with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to hear that, Jay. Let me know. Definitely either find me on Facebook. Easiest way is probably in the Get Gills Facebook group, or I know you have my email. Email me. Let's get you fixed up. Let's figure out what happened, and let's figure out how we can make things better for you. Because that's losing plants isn't fun. Obviously, it's not as
I'll be right back.
less not as little fun as losing fish, but it still sucks and can definitely be frustrating. Yeah, I've noticed. I've heard. Like I said, I haven't had it, but I've heard velvet acts a lot quicker. Bomb dwellers, so it could be. If you email Dan at dansfish.com, he'll probably have a pretty good idea of how he would treat it. I know he's pretty up on his medications and a pretty smart dude, so definitely worth a shot. Skipper's moved to what looks like a Madagascar rainbow fish tank. If I'm not mistaken, I see some albino bristlenose plecostomus in there. Looks like a type of platy. And some sort of plants, some nubius, some crypts, maybe some guppy grass in the back left there, and again in the middle, and maybe a crypticorin spiralis. but Skipper is away, so we won't know for sure until he gets back. What's in that tank? I said Madagascar rainbows, some platies, some bristlenose plecostomus.
Yeah. That's it. It's a very busy tank. One issue with this tank is the fact that every platy in there is females.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, the little ones was a the babies of these two females, and
right.
Maple Street Aquatics.
They're just all females. I wanted to start line breeding them whenever I get my fish room filled or built, but me and Paul's probably gonna have to have a talk. I think he has quite a few females. All my males ended up dying. I had like 2 or 3 trios or 3 pairs. I apologize. And then I got these Madagascars off a Dane also, and I wanted to start with them. And I'd say they're ready to breed.
Yeah. Now, is that 2 male and 2 female Madagascars?
No, it's 3. I tried to get 2 and 2, but
okay.
Probably what I'll do is one of the bigger ones, I might throw in my 55 and just let him, just hang out in there. Or maybe 2 of the males and just let a male and a female be by themselves or whatever.
Yep.
But for right now, I ain't really target breeding them. I'm just letting them grow up.
Right. Yep. So actually, Madagascars are actually pretty, I think they're underrated. They can display some pretty good color.
Oh, man, these males, whenever they're displayed, the dorsal fin and the bottom fin, it's kind of like a fan,
Yep.
And they get so red. Like, if you look at this one right here, it's hard to see because this is my cell phone. But he's bright red right now, and his tail and his 2 fins, top and bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about to do a water change on this one, clean the sponge filter. I've been behind for it's like 2 weeks since I changed it.
I know how that goes, man.
Yeah, I got pretty busy helping, other people out with working on their vehicles and stuff. So
yeah,
it's one of those things.
Miller says he's going to bump the temp. Tank has plecos, guppies, and a betta. All should be okay with warm temps. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. Like I said, the big thing with ramping the temperature up is just the decreased dissolved oxygen. That cold water just holds oxygen a lot better than the warmer water. So definitely either increase your air, like if you have like a sponge filter, an air stone in the tank, increase the flow. If you have a hang on back, increase the flow as much as you can. You could drop the water level down a little bit just to increase that surface agitation. Or if you're running a canister with a spray bar, just adjust your spray bar to add a little more surface agitation to it. Cooper's Aquatics is here. What's up, Maple Street? Hey, howdy, hey. Glad you guys stopped by. Appreciate it.
Lori has a question about the platies. From what I know, they do eat their fry. I don't know if it's viciously or not, but usually if you keep the parents fed, they won't bother the fry. At least that's what I know about guppies and platies.
Yeah, case by case. And obviously, the more cover you have in the tank, the better, whether that's Java moss or guppy grass, or if you have like frog bit with some long dangly roots, it's definitely going to increase your success.
Yeah, a lot more plants or rocks or something.
Yeah. And I mean, if it comes down to it, any fish that you spawn, whether they are known to predate on fry or not, they will given the circumstance. Holy crap, that video is terrible. Sorry guys. If it's if they feel threatened, they may eat the fry just out of fear, because them taking that nutrition back in is better than this fry just getting eaten or dying some other way. So there's a lot of situations that may cause fish to eat fry. Apistogramma are actually pretty notorious for eating fry when they get spooked. So a lot of breeders that keep apistogramma will have a nightlight in their fish room. And since the fish can see a little bit better, they won't eat their fry. And that was something I learned. A good friend of mine was having a problem where the female kept eating the fry. An older guy, like, the Patrick type, said put a nightlight in the room, and as soon as he put that nightlight in the room, they stopped eating them. So worked out pretty well for him. Air pump.
That would be like if one of your fish tank lights come with that blue light. Would that work?
Yeah. And definitely worth a shot. AIM said they add an air stone, nice flow of movement. Yep, it definitely helps with your oxygen levels. Tony Danford, hey, what's up? How's it going? It's going well, and the vacation was a lot of fun. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it.
Uses a lot of
the reason why I mentioned that is because a lot of your fish tank kits that are LED, like from Aqueon, they come with that. A lot of them do. They come with the blue light thing, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So that'd be good for somebody that's starting out, and it just,
Yeah, it's a cheap way to try to help guarantee a little more success. Cheshire Cat said her platies don't eat their fry at all. Gets new babies every couple weeks. Good deal. So feed heavily, like I said, if you feed well, chasing a fry down is a lot more work for the nutrients than just eating some dry food. Lori said, thanks.
You starve them for a couple of weeks, they'll start eating them.
Happy to help, or at least try to help. Try to give some pretty sound advice. Bottom dwellers doesn't want to lose those long finned blue-eyed lemons. Yeah, those are, it's a pretty fish, depending on what you're into. Some people don't think so. They don't come by all that often, and they're not cheap.
I'm just trying to remember. I haven't talked fishing forever. So.
Gloria said they have a light with a blue light function. Heard that grew algae, so I haven't used it. There's a lot of folks out there that say blue light will cause more algae. Kind of, sort of. It's not a drastic amount, if you ask me. Like, you're not going to instantly get algae just because you run a blue light at night. And most of those lights that just have the option to just run blue, or a lot of like the Aqueon hoods that have a couple of blue lights in them, that the whole purpose is like a night light.
I don't know. I run just a regular old fluorescent light on mine, and I still get algae. So
yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into it, not just blue light.
I think I get more algae from nutrients in the water. So
my only feeder I can use to bump the temp up that high is my 150. Just keep an eye on it. And I generally suggest, depending on your situation, a lot of people ask about heater sizes pretty often. Some people say to go with a bigger heater. I personally suggest 2 smaller heaters myself. That way, if one sticks on, the odds of it completely cooking a tank are reduced a little bit versus doing with one big one.
I mean, as long as you got enough agitation in the water, or at least some water flow, should be okay.
What was the question?
Bottomville was just he mentioned the only other heater he had that he could potentially hit 86 degrees with was pretty big, like a 150 watt for a 10-gallon tank.
Oh, holy cow!
We just talk about heater sizes.
Good. Won't take long to heat that up.
Right.
Especially when it's been going. I mean,
And then some people say, well, like,
I got
and this is
50 watt on my 55, and it works fine.
Yeah, this isn't specific to bottom dwellers question, just heaters in general. A lot of people will say, well, if you get a bigger heater, then it'll last longer because it doesn't work as hard, which I personally find debatable. A bigger heater will turn on and off more often because it's able to heat faster, which will cause more wear and tear on the relay that actually triggers the heater to start heating, more or less, the electricity to flow through it. So a smaller heater may run longer, but it's not going on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off all the time. So it's less wear and tear on the relay in there. So it's my belief, I haven't tested it, but it's my theory that an undersized heater will last longer.
I mean, that's pretty sound. You don't. It's not good to turn things on and off every second. Even like air conditioning systems, when you turn the heat or the cold on, some will have a timer in there, and it'll take like a few minutes, so it doesn't like overwork the mechanisms.
Yeah.
A heater has to run a cycle. If it's not able to run a cycle, the coils inside of it will get brittle.
That's true too.
Just like stuff I worked on in the Air Force, if the heater or AC, like if you're using a chiller, does not run a full cycle, it can damage the heater or air conditioning unit.
Mm-hmm. So Tony Danford mentioned most of the algae comes from a nutrient imbalance in your tank. Is that right? It depends. There's a lot of variables in it, and if it's not a planted tank, you can reduce your chances of algae growth simply by cutting your light down or light back, or only turning the light on when you're looking at the tank. There's still a misconception, and it used to be more so, that nitrates or high nitrates caused algae problems. So everybody was trying to keep their tank down to like no nitrates, even if it was a planted tank. But that's not really, we've advanced the hobby enough that we've learned that that's not quite right. A lot of algae problems in planted tanks are actually due to a deficiency of nitrates. So now keep in mind, if your tank's not planted, then this may not be your situation. But in a planted tank, a deficiency where the plants don't have sufficient nutrients for growth, those plants will suffer, which they may decay, they may rot, they may just not grow, which then allows the algae to kind of grow and take over. So in a planted tank, an excess of nutrients doesn't necessarily cause algae. Kind of like an imbalance is a better word. It's situational, really. It really is. A friend of mine actually, they have a planted tank, and they're like, well, why am I getting all this? They were getting green spot algae, I believe. And I suggested, I was like, well, they're like, my nitrates are good. They're like at 20 or 30. So like, okay, your nitrates are good. But their phosphates were at 0. I was like, well, bump up the phosphate that you're dosing. I think they were dosing monopotassium phosphate, so KPHO4, I think, is what they were dosing. So I just told them to bump it up a little bit. So they raised their phosphate levels. The green spot algae problem went away in a couple of weeks.
It's really situational because it could be nutrients, it could be light, could be time, could be time, because you have your light on like all day. I mean, that will grow algae,
right?
Like nothing.
Yep. And a lot of people with with planted tanks, when they first get into it, they like to leave their lights on full power for a long time, or like their higher power setting for a while. But even plants can only actually utilize that light for so much time during the day before they kind of burn out and give up. Which algae, being a much simpler organism, and some of the higher enzyme levels that various algae have, can utilize not only light in smaller amounts, but it can utilize that light faster.
Yeah.
So, some
Hey, if
people
you're
in
having
the
algae problems in the tank, just turn it off for a little while.
the planet hobby, the siesta method. I'm sure many of you have heard of, where you run your tank for you run the light on your tank for 4 hours, give it a break, turn it back on for 4 hours. The idea is that since you're not supplementing the tank with CO2, you have limited CO2 in the tank. You give those plants 4 hours to utilize the CO2. They deplete the CO2. You give them a break for the CO2 to theoretically build back up, and then you turn the light on again. Some people try that for algae control or just to help their plant growth, which, the CO2 level in a CO2 supplemented tank is pretty minimal to begin with. You're only talking like 3 to 5 parts per million, where your target kind of when you supplement CO2 is about 30 parts per million. So while yes, you may allow a small amount of CO2 to build back up over your lights on, algae actually has higher levels of the rubisco enzyme, and what the rubisco enzyme allows those algae cells to do is actually react to the light faster. So when the light turns on, the algae is able to fire up their photosynthesis faster than the plants themselves. So, completely made up numbers, but it may take an algae cell 1 minute to react to lights turning on and to start executing photosynthesis, where it may take a plant, which is a much more complicated organism. It could take, again, completely made up numbers, but 5 minutes to react that light. So what you're doing with a siesta is you're basically, giving the algae more of a fighting shot at using that light and soaking up nutrients before the plants can spin up for that second photo period.
Oh man, I would just leave them off. Just turn the light on. That's just me.
3 tanks, plants, football stratum, fighting green water, my 55, but the other 2 are fine. Green water is kind of a funny thing. The best fix for green water that I've found, some people suggest a blackout. I personally just use a UV sterilizer. Back in the day, I don't know if you can even get it anymore. Dragon Layer or like Alishan may remember this, but used to be able to run was like the HOT, like the Magnum canister filters. Used to be able to run them with like a diatomaceous earth media that would actually it was small enough to filter out the green water cells, because green water is basically, it's a free floating single cell algae as opposed to growing on surfaces. So what you ideally, by using like a diatomaceous earth filter, is you need something that has a fine enough, we'll say mesh more or less for the filter media, that it can actually pull those individual algae cells out of the water column. One of the reasons I like UV sterilizer during a green water breakout is because it just, when properly sized and with a reasonable amount of flow, it just runs the water itself through there. The UV light itself kills off the algae cells. Dragon Layer suggested a blackout. I've tried blackout. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And something like, I don't know, sometimes you take the blankets off and you never know what's going to happen under there. So one method, a lot of people, they fight an uphill battle with green water because like, oh, well, it's a free floating algae. Can I just do water changes? So what happens when they do a water change is that you're basically just freeing up and encouraging that algae to grow more. So it takes a lot of water changes. So you're constantly just fighting yourself. Big Tank Hank, what's up, brother?
What's up, Big Tank Hank?
How's it going? Gloria left us and came back. The information is fascinating. That's awesome. That's a compliment if I've ever heard one. Thank you very much. That means that we're doing something right over here, and that's kind of the goal. I mean, we all like to joke around and have fun, but some of the streams, I feel like it's 3 or 4 people on the stream blabbing away, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I like to be a little bit more informational, and sometimes the chat It's easy when you're in the chat to feel like you're getting left out.
So I got to ask you a quick question because you brought up the UV sterilizer.
Yeah.
So we was in a stream and somebody brought that question up. And we didn't know how to answer it. Does it kill off beneficial bacteria?
Well, so if there's any beneficial bacteria floating in the water column, yes. However, the vast majority of beneficial bacteria is colonized on surfaces. So like your hardscape, so your driftwood, your rocks, your substrate, your plants. If it's a planted tank, your plants actually have an enormous amount of surface area. Therefore, they contain an enormous amount of beneficial bacteria in theory. Your filter media, so your sponges, are where most of your beneficial bacteria are. So while the UV sterilizer itself, like if you have a hang-on back UV sterilizer, is it going to kill it off any significant amount of beneficial bacteria? Well, there's very, very little beneficial bacteria in the water column. So no, definitely not something to worry about. Will it kill off? Like if you have fry that run by a UV sterilizer, could they die? You bet. If you have like some scuds or some little amphipods cruising around, yep, it'll nuke them too. And
That's what I seem to remember.
So the next question is the placement of the UV sterilizer. Say you got it set up on a sump system, right?
okay.
You want it, and your sump system is going to have a lot of beneficial bacteria or whatever. You want to put that on the end of it, or?
So your UV sterilizer should always be even. So like if you look at like, I think Owasi might do it. I know Aquatop does. It's like an Aquatop canister. Some of them, like the Aquatop, the CF 500 UV, has a UV sterilizer built into it. But the media baskets themselves and the housing are designed to keep that UV sterilizer, the light itself, completely away from any of your filter media, so it doesn't nuke any of your beneficial bacteria.
Okay.
So like your what is it, like UV Aqua? I think they make external UV sterilizers. It's a housing that you basically plumb a hose to, and it'll pump water through that housing. But the UV sterilizer itself, it's not exposing anything from like your actual filter to a level of UV light that would actually be detrimental to anything.
Okay.
So like if you took let me see if I can find a picture actually. If you take a UV sterilizer apart and you just held the light bulb next to your filter media, sure. I mean, Aqua UV sterilizer. We'll take a look at it. So this picture should work. If I can get it open. Let me share this and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. So if you look at this, I have one of these Aqua UV sterilizers myself. So the water comes in the right side, so that where that blue cap is, the water come in that barb on the top, that barb fitting on the top. It actually, I believe it corkscrews around the bulb. The bulb itself, this blue cap on the end is where the bulb slides into the housing. The water corkscrews around that bulb and then exits out the top. So none of that UV, the actual UV light is escaping the housing itself. So you're not exposing. I mean, if you took that because that it's a twist fitting that holds the UV bulb in that housing, so you can take that bulb out. And if you held it next to your skin, it'd be detrimental. Like you could, I mean, it's like standing next to the sun. You're just giving yourself direct UV radiation to UV light. Honestly, radiation makes it sound a lot worse than it actually is. But yeah, so if you just took that light out of there and held it next to like your sump, sure, you'd nuke some stuff in your sump. But that's why if you look at if you look at saltwater tanks, saltwater folks tend to try to keep their stuff a little cleaner. And you can look at this picture here. You'll see that the large housing on the left is the UV sterilizer. So it's plumbed separately. It's completely away from the rest of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, here's another style where it's basically a long pipe. Again, you can see on the left side there, the power cord's going in for the bulb, and who knows how long that bulb is. Here's a little better picture of what I was talking about, where it corkscrews around there. So you get a little better idea. Like I said, it's a light, tight housing for the most part, to avoid any, UV stuff. Here's another one. It's like that's your UV sterilizer on the bottom. Looks a lot like a Rex Griggs reactor on its side. That's a UV sterilizer. And they all pretty much run off the same design. And if you go to somewhere, I've got some pictures. I actually went to the Henry Dorley Zoo in Omaha, and I got a behind the scenes tour of their aquarium stuff because the Scott Aquarium there is actually pretty impressive. Their UV sterilizers are like, they have several set up like this in the picture where it's like, it's like a 6-inch PVC pipe, and they're probably like 4 or 5 feet long. And the idea behind a UV sterilizer is that you're exposing, whatever detrimental particles, whether it's bacteria or whatever, or algae, to that UV light in high enough doses and long enough exposure times that it kills it off simply by UV sterilization, hence the name. Where some people run into this not being an effective method is they may have an undersized, so too little power, too small of a bulb, where they're just not generating the necessary power to do anything beneficial, or they're passing the water too fast through their UV chamber. So you're not getting, you need concentration. We'll say concentration or power for UV, and exposure time, which those are two big things. So if you're either not getting enough power or it's not being exposed to that UV long enough, that's when you're not really doing anything productive. So hopefully that answered your question, Tom.
Yeah, it did, because we was just thinking that, is it going to kill the beneficial bacteria? It's like, is it sterilizing the whole tank like a hospital tank? And I didn't think it did, but I wasn't too sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And I actually saw somebody. So you can buy. Let me see. UV sterilizer light. You can buy like a UV light, and I saw somebody that it's like, here's, I don't know, kind of a silly idea. Here it is. This is kind of what they put in their tank. So it's a UV light sterilization lamp is what it's called, and they put this directly in their tank. Let me share the screen here, and as you can guess, shockingly, they lost fish. They lost, because it's, like I said, it's not in a housing, so that UV light's not contained in it. Anything that's near it is getting exposed. Like, oh, well, I had green water, so I got a UV sterilizer, and then I lost fish. Like, well, stop shopping on AliExpress. Buy actual aquarium designed equipment generally. So that's that. Seems like the questions are slowing down a little bit. Give it another 5 or so minutes. Puts us at an hour and a half. That gives everybody a 45-minute break before they go over to Kenny E at Danikin. Unless you guys want to chat. If you guys want to chat, if you guys have questions, we can talk. Ask Patty. I'll talk. I have no problem talking. I don't know. I'm sure most people are. I'm pretty small time compared to folks like LRB. I think LRB is probably streaming right now. Sometimes he doesn't stream it.
HSP, what's up?
Yep, he's streaming right now. So there's 135 people over there. And I'm not trying to detract from Lucas at all. But we had people over here that wanted to chat. So we're still chilling. HSP, what is up? 44 meg guy. That's right. Derek's back for now. He's busy being back. Thomas Dobbins. Howdy. Thomas. Hope you're doing well.
Hello, Thomas.
If you guys aren't subscribed to Thomas Dobbins, he runs the Aquatic YouTubers Facebook thing. There's a link for his channel.
Tank, do you have insight, tips, or tricks?
I think Thomas
I don't know much about Mbuna. They're cool looking fish, though.
Oh man, and Muna. Yeah, HSP Skipper was up here for a little bit. That's his tank at least. He was talking for a little while. We were talking UV sterilizers and stuff. Tony asked about Mbuna. Lots of caves, lots of rocks. You're gonna have a ton of hardscape in there. You want to break up your line of sight. Keep in mind, I don't keep Mbuna myself, but these fish come from fairly hard water. They often live along like rocky walls and around a lot of rocks. So you want to try to replicate that environment best you can. So like Patrick said, lots of caves, lots of fish. They can be, quite aggressive. So the idea behind lots of fish is that you're dispersing the aggression. So there aren't, one or two fish that just get the crap kicked out of them the whole time. If you're looking for Pseudotropheus solosi, so those are actually an interesting fish, and you'll see. I want to say those are the ones that are the males are blue, the females are yellow, if I remember right, and so they show pretty drastic sexual dimorphism. These guys are what we're talking about right now. So the blues or the stripes are the males, and the blue ones are the stripes. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. I haven't kept these fish, but I believe the males are the dominant males are blue with the black stripes. The females or the subdominant males are the yellow ones. And they're pretty easy to spawn, like most of the Rift Lake cichlids. They're pretty fish. They make for a good display tank. And I think does anybody know George Farmer did a planted display, and I think he put Solosi in there.
Not sure. I know they can. You don't really want to keep plants with them, but I think there are some plants that they won't mess with.
I think this is what I'm thinking of here. I'll see if I can switch over.
I think a lot of it, they like to dig up plants.
Yeah, they like to chew on plants quite a bit.
Or something. I've never really kept those kinds of cichlids.
Yep. This is one of George Farmer's tanks that he set up. Let's go through this. And if you use he used hardier plants, so you can see looks like a couple different variations of Java fern in there, some Windalov, which is kind of the trident type, and then he has some Anubias in there, so stuff that's a little bit harder to chow on. But it can definitely be done. I don't know why. Okay, this one might be at this house. I'm not sure. But planted cichlid tanks with plants can be done. Let's see it. This looks like it's there you go. So even you can see the Anubias looks like it's shooting off a flower there. Looks like an earlier stage. He's got some snails in there. But planted cichlid tank can be done. Another good one. It's not around anymore. And and this has nothing to do with Pseudotropheus solosi, but another Pseudotropheus, which is Pseudotropheus demisoni, is Travis. Oh gosh, what's his name? Travis Simonson. That's it.
Howdy, what's up?
This tank is from forever ago. Let's see if I can share it quick. Travis Simonson set up a African cichlid tank with Pseudotropheus demisoni, and I think he had some yellow labs. If you look at the top right, the top left, I'm pretty sure those are yellow labs. Quality's kind of crap in this little picture of it.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
How much longer are you going? I got to switch over my computer.
How much longer you want to go?
I don't care.
Well, neither do I.
All right, I'll be back. I'll be on my computer. All right, later.
So sorry to digress off your question, Tony. I just got interested in other stuff for a second. But Patrick said Rusties are aggressive as all get out. They need to have lots of hiding spaces. Dominant male will kill other males and females so they can't get away. Story of my life. Just kidding. That's an main lake African type thing. Patty's here. What's up, Patty? Thanks for stopping by. I know Friday night's not the norm. But like I was kind of telling some of the other folks, I was on vacation for a week and missed a couple streams due to some other commitments. So I jumped up and say what's up, see what's going on, talk to my people.
Vacation is always cool. That's good.
Alishan said breeding project for Solosi to repopulate Lake Malawi. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Fish guy Nick's back. What's up, Nick? Thanks for stopping back. I didn't plan on still chatting, but if you ask Patty, I have no problem talking about fish. So here we are. People started asking questions. I started trying to answer them, or at least help people out. And now we're here.
All right.
HSP, what's shaking?
Don't worry, we'll get off track somehow.
Oh, it always happens. It always happens. Tony, the rest of your seems with the less aggressive Mbuna or Rusties, Pseudotropheus, Solosi, ACI, Yellow Labs. It depends on the fish. It depends on the setup. There's ways to attempt to curb the aggression. Just have a backup plan if things don't work out. I would say Pseudotropheus demisoni. I would add to probably the list of less aggressive. I haven't kept them myself, just going off of, information that I've obtained from fellow hobbyists and doing, the occasional reading here and there. But demisoni are kind of like a male Solosi. They don't get the vibrant yellow color. They're all just kind of the black and blue stripe. They stay a little bit smaller. So depending on your tank size, they may or may not work for what you have in mind. But they are pretty neat little fish. So, and I don't know if you like that look of a fish. What is Tretos? These guys. If you just like the black and blue look. Now I don't take what I say for gospel here. I've never kept these fish. I don't know about their personality. But Neolamprologus tretocephalus, or the poor man's Frontosa, see a little bit smaller, have a similar look. And
75 gallon? Seems reasonable.
75 is a lot of room. You get a lot of room. Alishan said demisoni are aggressive. Could be. I don't know. Very well could be. It's just in their blood. Alishan's got way more experience with, the main like African cichlid type stuff than I do. So I would take their word for it. And like I said, just be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Trents are pretty cool though. I'm not a big main like African guy, but Trents are kind of neat. That was someone in a bear tank. Believe it. Rusty's in the 70s, 30 to 55, which is almost totally full of big rocks in piles. So I know rocks, like if you go to just like a landscape place, pick some rocks that are, and even in like a main like African type setup where you're not so worried about trying to keep the water a little bit softer. You just go to a landscape place, get a bunch of rocks that you like for fairly cheap, and set it up. Otherwise, they make like Ken's Fish, I think, sells the cichlid stones. It's like a ceramic. It's more or less like a cave, but they call them cichlid stones that you can kind of stack, and they've got holes in them.
Interesting.
Maybe they don't make them anymore.
I don't know. You probably make one out of clay, maybe some clay pots. I don't know.
These guys, yep, clay pots are not uncommon. This is kind of what I'm thinking of. These little rocks look somewhat natural or stacked together. Jets are not also nasty. Yep. See, I can name off a few fish and I can kind of get you close. But I just, like I said, I try to make sure it's known that I don't have direct experience or super knowledge about them. Fortunately, there's folks like Alishan here, Patrick, and other folks that have bred different species that I haven't that can chime in. That's not treats. Sloci and ACI were not bad, aggressive. Good to know.
What is the green bushy pointy plant above a tiny bit to the right of the small bunch of red plants on the mid left side of your 125?
So I think what you're thinking of, and I'll go zoom in on it in a minute and see if I can get you there. My microphone's at my desktop, and that tank's in the other room. But I believe what you're referring to is Hygrophila balsamica. So I'll pull up a picture first, and then I'll go out there and see if I can get a better video of it. But Hygrophila balsamica is a little bit harder to find plant right now. It's not super tough. Let's see if this picture will load. And this guy, oops, maybe. Let's pull up this picture. So this is Hygrophila balsamica. It's kind of a typical hygro where it can be finicky at first, but once it settles in, it takes off. And it's got some, it almost has, so Hygrophila deformis, like I said, another Hygrophila species, water wisteria. It kind of has a similar leaf shape, just much, much finer. So I'm going to go silent for a minute. I'm going to go out there and see if I can get a decent video of it for you so you can take a look.
Mm-hmm. It certainly was specific. Or specific. Oh, God. That's one of those words I can never say sometimes. Thomas Dobbins. Hello. I hadn't said hello to you already. I probably did.
So I'm back. Nick, if this is what you're looking at, yep, that is Hygrophila balsamica in the middle there, the real fine-leafed. To the left there, the 4-leaf clover looking plant is Hydrocotyl tripartita, Japan. The pink plant down in front is Alternanthera renekii. Back over here. To the, looking at your camera, the computer screen here, to the right of that, you can see some Pogostemon helferi. That's actually a red variant. It's not showing a ton because it's shaded out right now. And that's just your down away. So that's kind of an idea of what's going on in that little area of the tank. And those are the rainbows you can see are Trilathrina, Alleni, Wapoga. They're about burnt out, so they're not colored up. Rainbows in general, at least mine, like to color up the best as soon as the lights come on. The lights have been on all day. Looks like I hit the nail on the head with which plant you were trying to describe. Lights come on. The lights have been. Tony Danford said he picked up some pool filter sand from Home Depot and Flagstone. There you go. You're on your way, man. That's how you do it. Did I? Oh, IHCP or IHSP. Talking about plants. Yeah. So this tank right now, it doesn't look great, but it does have, it's a 125-gallon tank. I do have over 60 species / variants of plants in there. So there's 60 different types of plants in there. It has, it's a 125. It's not drilled. It runs 2 Aquatop CF 500 canister filters, which wouldn't necessarily be my choice. But I picked up the tank used and they came with it. So the price was right. It does have ADA Amazonia Aquasoil in the bottom. Again, got that used. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't spend the money for Aquasoil.
Hard.
It's lit with 3 prisms from Nylock G. Like I said, we talked about those a little bit earlier in the stream. Pretty awesome light. I'm happy with it. $140 a piece. Not too bad at all. And then I do have a 10-pound pressurized CO2 setup. So it's a 10-pound aluminum cylinder. I run a Milwaukee MA957 regulator to a DIY Rex Griggs reactor. A lot of people are worried that CO2 is expensive, and then it's complicated. If you do your research, the complication and the scary part about it goes away. As far as it being expensive, so the setup that I'm running on this tank today is, like I said, the 10-pound cylinder, the regulator. I paid $100 for that used in 2005. Now you could still find a deal like that if you look and if you're patient. So I paid $100 used in 2005. I've used it damn near every day since then. And I sell about $100 worth of plants. That looks funky. About $100 worth of plants every month out of my tanks on a low side. Low side's $100. So it's paid for itself. That was 15 years ago. $100 a month, so 120 times 15. You do the math. I think it's paid for itself. And there's much nicer setups out there, and I could sell way more plants if I wanted to, but I do give a lot of stuff away just to help folks out. I'm not in the hobby for the money. I sell a couple things here and there just to supplement it. That's it. Dragon Layer's been chiming in on this African cichlid nonsense, and we appreciate it. Glad to have you here. Limestone buffer it to keep it hard. You bet. Hard at 8.2. Yeah, you bet. Sounds like great water for. That's like if you're in the Midwest. I don't know where you're located, Tony, but I'm in the Midwest, and the water out here is liquid rock. So for the longest time, the main Lake African, the Rift Lake fish were super, super popular. And I think people just got sick of them. And now they're kind of moving away from them. But it comes and goes in waves. Africans get super popular for 15, 20 years, and then they disappear off the face of the planet. Tony Danford's in southern Missouri, so you probably have similar water. Probably pretty close. HSP asked, what size CO2 tank do I have? How often do I have to refill it? How expensive is it to refill? So this is the aquarium is 125 gallons. I run a 10-pound CO2 tank on it, and I push quite a bit of light, so my CO2 levels are a little bit higher. But it lasts me anywhere from usually 4 to 6 months. So 10 pounds on a 125 lasts about 4 to 6 months, and it costs me a little less than $20 to fill it up.
Hey, yes, main tails, furs, and fins.
And then, like I said, I have an aluminum cylinder. If you have a steel cylinder, then it doesn't hurt so bad to just exchange it. Most CO2 places, instead of just a fill, they'll exchange it. So you give them your old tank, they just give you a full one. I have an aluminum cylinder just because it looks pretty. So I just have them fill mine instead of swapping it. So every 5 years, I do have to do a hydro test, which is about $30 on mine. It's not too bad. Pretty reasonable. And then the regulator, like I said, I don't have a high-end regulator, and I got it used, so I got a good deal on it. Some regulators out there are $300-400. Not necessary. They do have some nice bells and whistles, and can be a little more accurate. So those are options. The reactor itself, I use like I said, a DIY Rex Griggs. So it's basically an 18-inch piece of 2.5-inch PVC pipe. The CO2 inlet is about a third of the way down. The water flows in from the top of the pipe, out an elbow on the bottom. So that CO2, the bubbles rise, the water pushes it down, and just kind of creates some turbulence in there. And then the CO2 bubbles will dissolve and move into the tank. Some people like to put, some people put like the pot scrubbers or bio balls in their CO2 reactor. I personally don't. Does it add more turbulence? Yes. Does it reduce your filter flow? Yes. Does it also catch on a bunch of stuff and then you have to open up your reactor occasionally to clean it? Also, yes. So I don't, and I'm able to run, CO2 as high as I need to. Tony and
can't you use like the CO2 tanks for like paintball guns and stuff like that if you wanted to go a little budget?
So if you want to just get into like a more entry level type setup or spend a little less money, or maybe you don't have the space, because a 10-pound tank is about 20 inches tall. If you don't have the space, you can use like a paintball tank, and they do have fitting adapters to allow you to run a standard regulator. They also have paintball tank specific regulators to save the space or just to adapt to that. I don't know what the cost to fill like a 20-ounce like a paintball CO2 cylinder is anymore. But over time,
I used to do it in a place I was going to. I think they charged me like $6. So. Okay.
So in $6 for 20 ounces. If you're not going through it very fast, or like I said, if you don't have the space, it works just fine. If you're running a decent sized tank, though, I would definitely look at just a full size setup. Fewer trips to wherever you're going to fill it, and then, like I said, most of your fill is probably your labor price. CO2 is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So most of your fill is going to be labor. I personally, a lot of people ask, well, where do I get it filled? I use a fire extinguisher shop. So there's a place in town called Sigler Fire that fills it up. Linweld, Matheson, just like gas supply, welding shops. If you have like a local homebrew store, sometimes they'll often sell cylinders and sometimes they'll refill them. So got a little one that's recommended for trying our small CO2 setup. Is it like, help me out here. Is it like the little flue ball setup?
Well, she said.
I'm not sure what she has, but if it's like these guys, is this what it looks like? Like these little.
Yeah, them little ones that you use for, if you remember, your air guns with the plastic BBs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, will it work? Yeah. You're looking at what, like 45 or 95 grams of CO2. It's not gonna last long. If you had if you just didn't have space, like no way you could hide a tank anywhere, and you were running a tiny tank, you could run them, I guess. You could try it. Yeah. The cost just to set it up and the cost to run it is going to get expensive pretty quick. Those little it's not like a proprietary little CO2 cylinder, but those little cartridges get expensive super fast. If you want to talk to me about it, just email me, find me on Facebook, whatever. Skipper, I think, can probably connect us. And we can talk about it. We can see, like I said, if you want to try it, it'll work on a small tank. Otherwise, you're going to burn up a lot of CO2 really fast. Or, well, not a lot of CO2. You're going to burn through those little cartridges really fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's just one I remembered talking about it one time on somebody's stream.
Yeah. Tony and Patrick are still talking about Africans, specifically Mbuna, for those that aren't really following the chat. Lots of people say it's hard to keep plants to them, but I'm wanting to try Jungle Val and Nubius, maybe Java ferns. So if you remember a minute ago, I did show you that tank that George Farmer set up, and he did have Java ferns and a Nubius in there. I'm not sure about Jungle Val. I would say there are some species of Vallisneria that could survive with them. Vallisneria is actually, aside from being one of the few obligate aquatic plants, meaning it can't grow immersed, it is found naturally completely submerged all the time. It's actually found in Lake Tanganyika, so a little bit harder water. And as such, it does like harder water if you're trying to grow it. So some people struggle with it because they have soft water. Dragon Layers chiming in, much appreciated, especially the Val.
I know, like, a lot of the Val I've been dealing with seems to be a little fragile. So you get them in there with some of them cichlids, they might just, because Java fern and the Anubis are pretty hardy, like they got thick leaves.
Yeah.
If it's something that has like fragile leaves, like some of that Vallisneria does, I don't think it's going to work. From what I've dealt with some of my fish, that you know how some fish are, even some of your community fish, they like to nip at them too, especially the ones that I keep, and it's just like it's hard for me to keep it right now because they like to mess with it too much.
Yeah. And let me see. I'm trying to.
I haven't been on StreamYard in a long time, and they still have not changed the chat system.
They're too old school.
I'm going to switch screens over here for a second. I know we're kind of bouncing back and forth.
$35 Java fern? Wow.
Trying to find a splitter.
What's up, Sean?
Hey, Sean, OTD.
I'm just trying to find the exact setup that IHSP has for their CO2 so I can try to give them some little bit better advice. I see the cartridges. I don't see a specific thing that I was thinking of other than a little tiny regulator. Sean's here. What's up, Sean? How's it going?
Yeah, Steph, if you want to get connected with Mike here, I can help you with that. You have me on Facebook.
Yep. So we can figure it out, and maybe we can make sure you're getting kind of the right equipment to get you moving the proper direction. And not that there's anything necessarily wrong with certain equipment. Some things just help you get going in the proper direction a little bit easier than others. A lot of it's just a little bit of know-how.
Well, I think what she's saying, she just wants to test it out just to see
Yeah.
if it's something she wants to deal with.
Right.
So, I mean, I get that. Just, you're dabbling in it, which there's nothing wrong with that. Heck, maybe you'll like it.
Okay, so is this? I closed it. Sorry, damn it. I'm bouncing back and forth all over the place. Is this what you're looking at, Steph? Like this DIY kit?
She said she's going to open it tomorrow and see how difficult it is.
I think this is what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, what is it? CO2 Neo. Interesting.
She said, yeah.
Okay, so this
That's
is
the one.
So Steph, I don't think you were in the stream earlier when we were talking about it. But Ian from Atkins Nature Aquatics has kind of a similar setup, and more or less this is kind of a modernization of the old DIY CO2 method. It's still DIY CO2, but I'm not sure the exact formula that they use here. But it's like you're more or less using like a citric acid reaction to produce CO2. So it's just a chemical reaction in a bottle that's going to release CO2.
Like the old 2-liter style.
Yep. So just like the old yeast and sugar, except you're using a little more effective reaction to provide CO2 to your tank. For $22, it's a good place to start. That's about what it cost me, back in the day in 2004 when I first started getting into planting tanks. I did something similar with yeast and sugar because I just wanted to try it out. And CO2 was also a lot less affordable then. There wasn't so much stuff on the market. But I had 3 2-liter bottles set up, kind of similar to this. They were plumbed together that ran to the tank. So it's a good place to start. And I think, you should definitely see an improvement in your plants. It'll kind of get you, it'll either kind of, inspire you to go a little bit further and pursue some CO2 or maybe you'll decide, I'm not quite ready for it. So.
Hey, Mismatched Socks. How you doing?
What's up, Mismatched? How's it going? The Aquarium Co-op Easy Planter. I have not used it. I think it's kind of just a decorative pot, really, isn't it? Let's look.
Yeast and vinegar?
You have to look it up because I don't remember. Is it the clay pot? Oh yeah, it's just
yeah, it's just a rock with a hole in it.
So what he does with that is he just sets the plant down and he already pots in it, and that's it.
Yeah, and I mean, so my take on that, I guess, is, like a lot of plants that you might use, obviously they have, whether it's a stem plant or a rosette or a sword, they're going to have root networks. And those roots are designed not only to anchor themselves into a substrate so they don't move, but to absorb nutrients. So you don't have a lot of substrate there. So you don't have a lot for the plant to hold on to. B, you don't have a lot of substrate there to hold nutrients for that plant to grab nutrients from. I guess if the plant is absorbing enough nutrients from the water column that it doesn't have to pull much of anything from the substrate, and it's growing well, it's going to want to expand. So eventually it's going to try to spread out in that pot and kind of be stuck and maybe just turn into a little mess. That's my take on it. I get the idea behind the design.
If you look at the pictures, it looks like Anubis from as small as I see it. But that'd be good for your rhizome plant. Yep, that's Anubis. That's good for rhizome plants.
Yeah, if you had something
place.
Mm-hmm.
But I would take out the what do they call that? They wrap that stuff in.
The rock wool usually.
Yeah, I would take the rock wool out and add some little bit of stone in there just to help anchor it. That's a good way. Me personally, I think that's a good way to use instead of having to use super glue or anything like that. But your other plants that need substrate, that's not going to work. They will die off.
It's like thoughts on using that for jungle val. I personally wouldn't. Your jungle val is going to want to spread by runners. And with nowhere to go, it may send runners up and out of that little planter deal. And then you may have, a tangled mess. So
this wool rot to degrade lol. I don't know. Never heard of that.
You never heard of the yeast and vinegar. So it's sugar and vinegar, or not sugar and vinegar, sugar and yeast. Sorry.
Sugar. Yeah.
Basically, it's fermentation. You open those bottles and it smells like booze.
Yeah.
The yeast works digesting the sugars and letting out the gases, and it will create some CO2.
So, Steph, if you try it, if you have any questions, let me know. And like I said, I've played the DIY game, a long time ago, so it's probably a different chemical reaction now. But it's all the same concept. I'll gladly help you out and do what I can. Does rock wool degrade eventually? I wouldn't put rock wool in your tank myself.
It does degrade.
I haven't kept it long enough to ever find out. But yes.
I tested it. Not in a tank.
Weights and zip ties. Depends on the type of plant. If you have an epiphyte, so like Hygrophila pinnatifida, your Java ferns, your Bulbitis, like your Bulbitis hudolodi, or your Anubias, sure, you could, like I said, like Tom said, it'll attach to that planter itself, and substrate's not really required. So to appreciate that, you can zip tie it on there until it sticks.
Well, you can also do your stem plants. You can use the weights for.
Yeah, like a lead weight or something.
Yeah, well, they make these lead weights that are like real skinny and long like that. Then you just wrap them around. They're soft, so it won't hurt the plant. Then you can just set it in there.
Right. And Sean mentioned that like Corey recommends putting a root tab in there. You'd almost have to, just to give them some nutrient source. Other than the water column, obviously, but
yeah, it just depends on what plant you're putting in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gloria said they've got one of the planters helping me propagate the Java fern.
That's another rhizome plant, so it would work in there.
But even at that point, so like those plants, they'll attach to a flat rock just as well as they will like a rock with a hole in it, like that planter. And lava rock is cheap, so my 2 cents. I hear you, Tony. And what you might be able to do, so that jungle val, it's pretty thin. It's not like a carpeting plant that they grow super bushy, it grows thin. So if you could plant it, and put your rock work around it, so then those long Vallisneria type leaves just grow up through it, and then those cichlids couldn't dig down in there.
Well, hello, Jess. Even with your community fish will do the same thing, like the Corey Doris, they'll uproot that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll uproot it easily. I have that issue too.
You want me to show you what I got?
Well, you went to the fish store today.
I did.
I'm fine with it. Koi beta.
Ooh, nice.
That's one male. And then I used to not be very big on the kois, but I didn't get these to keep. So
I haven't seen a koi beta with them long fins like
I haven't either. That's why I grabbed them. And there's a few more that they have that I did not get that I got to go back in the morning because I got to take them some shrimp that I may get. But I'm going to make sure that everything is good. I'm going to keep one and I'm going to sell the rest. So they'll go on my website. But I got something else I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you those, but I got something else I want to show you. I've never seen this plant before. Hang on, I got to get it out of the thing though.
And Mike would be the one that knows probably what it is.
Maybe. I know what it is, but I don't know if you'll know what it is. All right.
Oh, I ain't never seen that before. Mike, what is that? He must step away.
I've never seen it either. But they're calling it an onion plant.
No, that's not an onion plant. I know what an onion plant is.
It's chopped off. Like you can tell it's got a blunt bottom. And then it's got roots that are coming off of it. I don't know how to plant it. I don't know if I just stick it in there and leave it, or if I stick it in the substrate where the roots are. I guess I should have asked that question.
That's not an onion plant. An actual onion plant looks like it has an onion bulb.
Yeah, I think this was cut off of that.
No.
No?
Hey, sorry, I had a phone call quick. I'm back.
Mike,
so.
Can you recognize that plant?
Yep. If you look up crinum, so CRINUM, and it looks like a calamastratum.
Okay.
So we'll hold on, and we'll show you this guy.
Crinum.
There it is.
Crinum. How do you spell crinum?
CRINUM.
Look on your computer screen. He looked it up for you.
See?
Crinum? I've never seen a crinum.
Yeah, but I can't see the writing.
Oh, CRINUM.
Crinum. Okay. And then I got 2 of those, and
that says, is that a pineapple?
I know, right? That's what it looks like. Oh, I got one of those, but they better have given me the other one. Yeah, they did. Okay, there it is.
Many pineapples.
Last week, I got a little, okay, you don't know what this is, but I got it anyway.
Oh, Madagascar lace plant, huh?
Yep. Yeah. I got 2 of them, the little bulbs. And again, I don't know how to plant it. Do I stick the bulb in the dirt where the roots are?
Yeah.
And then how do I plant that?
Just like that.
Do I plant it up to the roots or just let it sit on the top?
I would just go ahead and bury it down in the substrate a little bit.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
I got all those. I got 2 of each, 2 of those each. And then last week I got, I had bought baby peacock gudgeon. I've already put him in the tank, but I left him. So I had him this week, but I'll show these again since I'm on the big screen. These guys are just like neat. I've never been a fan of the kois or whatever, koi galaxy, whatever you want to call it, but they're just super glue the Anubias to the rock. What's the Anubias?
I think he was talking to Tony.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh. I think I'm going to get those other ones tomorrow, the other kois. But I just think that's cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome plant.
And you know where I got it? Red Cove. They're starting to carry some pretty cool things. They had some blue rams. I almost got them, but I don't have my RO unit yet, so I didn't get them.
So a lot of
I always wanted to get one of those toy data.
A lot of the rams anymore have been so domesticated that they'll actually do quite well in most water. Like I've spawned them in like pH like 8.2, like hard water, like 400 TDS, like pretty hard.
Well, I know that they have them in a little softer water than what I have because they've got an RO unit. And so I've been hesitant to get them. They had them with some discus in the same tank. They've also got in the same tank some angels. So
yeah,
I don't know, kind of contradicting, but I did. I almost got them. There's been 6 of them there for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
But they want $10 a piece for them. each.
Because of the size. Like for the Rams are $10 a piece.
Yeah, and they're full grown. They're
That's not-
adults.
That's not bad. Like I think if you even if you go to like Petco anymore, they're like $12 or $15.
Yeah, I was just there, and it was the golden ones. They were asking like $10.
Okay, and they may have been. They might have been the gold ones. You're right. They might have been. They. What else did they have? Oh, in the salt department, they had. Oh my God, what was it called? A scooter. Blenny, yes.
Pretty cool.
They had like 3 of them. They were. Oh my God, I don't think I've seen anything cooler in my life.
Yeah. You know,
They
like
make you want a saltwater tank. Oh my God, they were great. You don't have to keep me on the big screen. I don't have nothing else.
all right.
There was I went to Petco today while Danny was streaming, and well, it's a beautiful fish.
Oh my God, they're gorgeous. They're absolutely freaking gorgeous.
So that's
Okay,
that's a mandarin as opposed
That's
to
a mandarin though,
Yeah.
yeah. But the scooter blenny almost looks like a lion. Yeah, there you go. More like the one on the very left top is what it looked like. The very left at the top. Yep, that one. That was it. Exactly. That's it.
Yep.
They're
Oh,
so,
the red one.
they're so like personable too. They're like the I like a personable fish. And
Yeah.
I mean they are so attentive. It was awesome. I wish I had a saltwater set up already because I would have brought them all home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. Whenever I was in there today at Petco, I was damn near thinking about it.
I did. I mean, too, because between those and the cleaner fish shrimp,
Yeah.
I love the cleaner shrimp. I don't know if it's the long tentacles that I like so much. I love them too.
So
they
here's
have-
a cold water species that you don't see very often.
Is
It's
that
like
freshwater or saltwater?
saltwater. It's like Catalina goby.
That's
Oh
cute.
my, it's beautiful.
So pretty cool.
I just like the gobies. I just think they sit so cute on the rocks and stuff.
So,
I know, right? Goofy.
but it's 9:30, guys, and I don't mean to cut you short, Jess. I
You're
definitely
not, you're
appreciate
not.
you coming up. But it is time to head over and hang out with Kenny at Danikin for a little bit.
Kenny.
So I'm going to drop the link.
Thanks for
in
letting
the
me
chat.
up.
Oops.
All right. Thanks for having me up.
Yeah, thanks for letting me up.
Don't follow that link.
Wrong one.
Yep.
Let's do a hashtag ATF.
What does ATF mean?
All things fish.
Thanks, fish, maybe.
Oh, duh.
Dang.
Don't follow that one. Follow this one.
There's my card, right?
All right. So Derek, Ian, if you're out there listening, appreciate it. Jess, thanks for coming up. Tom, always a pleasure. Patrick even stopped by.
Derek,
So
good to see you.
let's head over to Danikin and show him some love, and we'll hang out with Kenny for a little bit. So you guys have a good night, and we'll chat with you in the boards, okay? All right, we'll see ya.
Bye.